Hello, fam. This is Leslie, and we are sipping on a Monday because we can. But I am here with Christina. Say hello, Christina.
Cheers. Hello.
And I am here with the dynamic duo, the inspiration and the leading force behind Narcisso Wine. And let me just say before I introduce them, so over the summer, um, a lot of ways we make our money is going to wine festivals, right? And so in typical fashion, the wine concierge gets there an hour and a half beforehand to set up, right? Narciso is there like 2 minutes after the sun rises. They are set up. They
Ready
have
to
their
go.
fans going. They looking at me breaking a sweat back and forth. At the last event we were at, my tent had flew
Oh my
into
God.
the yard.
Yes.
Oh, but that was not my fault. That was
We really do know what we're doing.
it was not my fault because I know to put weights on the tent. But what I want to let you know that these are some hard working women. They make good wine and they work equally as hard and as good as their wine is. And Karen is on, and Karen says hello. Karen Dolan. So hey, Karen. So with that introduction, Dalia and Cyndi, please introduce yourselves.
Well, I'm Dalia Narciso Chambers. I'm the older sister. Yeah, I'm the shorter one, so I call her my little big sister.
You're in charge.
No. She lets me think I'm in charge, but I know that I'm not.
Of course you are. Of course you are. And I am Cyndi Narciso Campbell. And Di and I, of course, are sisters. And I'm the little older sister, bigger sister, something like that.
Well, welcome.
It's our pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you for inviting us.
So, how this moment of inspiration began, you wanted to start making wine.
Well, whenever I think about that, I think about it in two phases. Um, Early, let's say late 2016, 2017, my younger daughter was a rising senior. And so the empty nest mentality was beginning to set in for me. And so I wanted to go back to a couple of things that were close to my heart. One of which was going back to working on our family tree, which is rich in our family history, but also winemaking, which is also rooted in our tradition, our family tradition. Cindy and I are from the Caribbean coast of Nicaragua. And this is the part of Nicaragua where you will find people of African descent and mixed with indigenous people. And one of the traditions there is making fruit wines, especially during the holiday season. And so our dad made wine. And so I decided I would call him and get his formula and his little recipe, and that I would start tweaking it and just doing my own thing with it. I started infusing different fruits and just experimenting with it. And every weekend, family members would come over, and to see what was ready this weekend. And, I would have these little 1-gallon buckets of all these different wines just waiting. And we had fun with it. And then Cyndi decided, you know what? This would be a good business. She was the one who said, let's make a business of this. And I said, absolutely not. This is my hobby. I love doing
I was
it.
like, wait a minute. It's supposed to be a yes after absolutely. Yes, let's do this. Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, but she knows me well, so she gave me my space and allowed me to have fun with it, and then came back almost a year later, and she was like, no, I'm serious. I think we definitely need to do something with this. By this time I had all these different profiles, and we're like, okay, let's see how this works out. I told her, I said, I will create the profiles, I'll have fun with it, and then you get to do everything else.
How is that a fair, how is that balanced? I don't understand it. I really think it was more her trying to set me up, and
I thought she would say no, but she called my
That's
bluff.
a good test. Yep.
And said, okay. And that's how Narcisso Wine Cellar started.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
So it was really rooted in, as Dalia said, in traditions and wanting to keep that tradition of sharing and with family and friends. And so, yeah, so here we are.
There's a real foundation then for that recipe in terms of how it developed. So you have that as that foundation, and then adding in your own experience and learning and know-how and all the things that you've probably acquired over the last handful of years,
Yes.
really going into these wine profiles. And I have to say that they're really quite incredible, to be honest. They're so very well balanced. So wherever and however that recipe started, give you a very good footing. So I think that that's pretty incredible. And I know you have Narcisso as the name, but I mean, I know the name is obviously Narcisso Campbell and Dalia, you have this, integrated, but where does this name come from? Like, how did it come about that you were going to call the wine Narcisso?
It is our last name, our father's last name, and which also happens to be our logo, Narcissus flower, which,
right.
Yes. So, yeah, it's our family name. So we decided that, since we were using Dad's recipe as the...
Oh, you're right.
Only fair.
It's only fair. It's only right to give him, credit. And
whenever we would ask people, like, oh, that's a great name for wine. So there it is.
Karen said she had the rosé last night and she
Ooh.
enjoyed it.
Very good.
Which one did you guys
Thank you,
make
Karen.
first?
Well, it started with the infusion. So a version of Midnight
Okay.
was made. And we enjoyed it. We enjoyed that. So it just developed from there.
All your taste testers must have too, because they
yes.
didn't say no, stop, don't do this.
As a matter of fact, Cyndi's mother-in-law, I told her, I said, I can't trust you because every wine I make, you said, oh, it's so good. I'm like, no, it can't be. All of them can't be that good. I'm like,
which was one of her
your
main hesitations in the beginning too. She was like, you know what? No, there's no way. Like, we're just being kind. This is, we're sharing with family and friends. They're just being nice. Like, they don't really mean any of this. But yeah, she's our number one taste tester.
That's funny. Oh, Karen also said she had the midnight too. It must have been a good night at Karen's house. We're going to Karen's house.
Delicious. Yes, delicious.
We're going there. You know what, ladies? In the introduction, I did not say where you make your wines. Please share with people where you make your wines.
So these are all Maryland wines. These are 100% handcrafted here. And so they're all produced Eastern Shore or across the Bay Bridge. So we're local, which is kind of one of the things that we were also committed to doing, right? To contributing to Maryland's agriculture, to contributing to our local community. And, we like just kind of staying local and engaging with people and connecting with our community. So for us, it just made sense to stay here and just highlight Maryland's, this region, and to reflect the wines that can be produced here.
I think you guys have done a great job representing Maryland.
Yes.
I think you've also put your signature on those wines. The expression is uniquely um, Narciso. We recently, well, no, I would say for February, we had the festival, and then in our wine club, we had the Merlot,
Mm.
which is,
Yes.
I think, hands down my personal favorite.
That
Um,
always goes. Yes.
yeah, it goes really fast. That is my personal favorite. And you use grapes that are that really work well in this area, which I think is the secret to good winemaking is to know which grapes work well. But
Yes.
can you share with people what are the core grapes that you use in your wines?
Well, for the Merlot, we blended Merlot, 85% Merlot,
Mm-hmm.
10% Barbera, and 5% Malbec.
Mm.
I love Malbec. Cindy loves Barbera.
I'm
So
very
we had to
happy
find
hear
a
about
balance there, right? Like, listen, we need to do both. So what are we going to do? So
Barbera is great. It's underrepresented
absolutely.
in the area.
I
So
agree.
that's wonderful that you do that. And it really has its own area here. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's just awesome.
Yeah, she likes her full-bodied red wines, and I'm somewhere in the middle. So this was a happy medium, I think, and it made something different.
Yes.
Usually that's not what they blend with in a Merlot. So we've heard that over and over. That is like
Yeah.
approachable.
The
And
wine is very versatile that way. Absolutely.
It is, and Barbera grows so well on the Eastern Shore. I
Mhm.
think it's one of the best places. The only other place in Maryland that I've had like a really good Barbera is the Port of Leonardtown. Lauren
Mm.
does a really good job there. But it's interesting because Barbera is, it has a lot of acids, especially
yes.
on the Eastern Shore, and it's it's not as detectable when you have your Merlot. So kudos to you guys on your blending job. You did an
Yeah.
excellent.
Yep.
It is also the base for our Midnight and our Serenity.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Yes. Am I giving away all the secrets?
no, but that's good to know that
That is.
because I think when people think about red blends, obviously the core grapes stick out, or the signature grapes as far as your Cab, your Merlot, your Cab Franc, your Malbec, but there are other grapes such as your Mourvedre, your Carignan,
Mhm.
your Barbera, Petite Syrah, Petite
Yeah.
Verdot. These grapes oftentimes kind of get left to the wayside, but they're just as much a part of that. So I think that if you are leading with that in a wine, you definitely should be letting people know, if they love it, especially, that this grape, this is what we do. This grape we're promoting that, and it is yummy. You're right. See, Karen's had the whole line, so now
Yes. Yes. I mean, I think
Thank you so much, Karen.
but it's also one of the things that we talked about a lot in thinking about the wine profiles, was to do something different, to try something different, experiment with something different that people are maybe not expecting. And so that's been kind of one of the fun things to do as well. So
Well, Oh,
Go ahead, Christina.
I was going to say, speaking of doing something different, I mean, we've talked about a number of different wines, and Karen has already said that all the ones that she's had are very, very good. So we know that they are very, very good because we've had a lot of them too. But what are all of the different wines that you have to offer, and how, when you say you wanted to do something different, how is that reflected in your brand's value and how you present the wines that you have? Your intention behind them.
You want me to take that one?
Go ahead.
Are you sure? Are you sure? So with our wine, we have 7 wines that we offer. And I know that sounds just like way too many to start out with, but we wanted to make sure that we had something for everyone. We know that everyone's palate is different, right? But we wanted to just to step back a little bit. In the beginning, we did a lot of focus groups to try to figure out what was missing, what people were interested in. And yes, we could have narrowed that down probably to about 3 or 4 wines, but we were like, well, we wanted to meet people where they were on their wine journey and not exclude anyone just because they didn't want something, traditionally dry. And so we said, well, we wanted to have a reds, whites, rosés, dry, and then semi-sweet. So you will always be able to find what I call your new favorite wine, right? Or as people have heard me say, or just have a wine for each day of the week. It all depends on what mood you're in, right? Or how tough the day
was. I like that goal.
I do like that. Yes.
So with that in mind, we have, of course, our dry collection is, we have our Merlot, we have a Merlot Rosé, and then also Vidal Blanc for our whites. And then on our semi-sweet side, we have those, our Barbera blends with cranberry, one with blackberry, and then L'Amour, which is our semi-sweet rosé. Really, really good. That's a blend as well of Vidal and Barbera, because you'll always find Barbera. Wherever I am, there will be. And then we also have a Fiesta, which is one of the favorites as well. So we try to share that just kind of with everyone in terms of just encouraging them to just try them, because although we've had people say, oh, I prefer this type of dry wine, but then when they try, for instance, Midnight, it's like, oh wow, that's not what I expected. And so that means a lot to us, because that's what we intend. That was our intention, to say, okay, just experience and try something different. You never know what you'll end up liking, actually. And so we've had folks who were on the sweeter end who were like, ooh, I like Vidal. I didn't think that I would like it because it's dry white. And also folks who are more on the Dalia corner here of of full body reds, who are like, oh, Midnight is actually like, I like this, I can do this. So which makes us happy. We feel that we've accomplished our objective there, in just giving people something different to try and to just enjoy it, and not box yourself into, I only like dry or I only like sweet wines.
So your dad, the inspiration for this, was he part of your test group?
Actually, at the time, both of our parents were visiting. They had retired and moved back to our hometown of Bluefields, but they were visiting during that time of trying different wines. And my dad loved wine, of course. And my mom wasn't a big wine drinker. However, every time we had one to try, she's like, so where is mine?
Yeah, that's a good sign.
So yes, they enjoy it. They enjoy it.
That is cool. That's really nice. That's nice that, and you guys have not been making wine officially that long, and you've just done so much. What has been your inspiration in your drive in doing this?
Again, I think that comes from from family, with we don't know any different. For our parents, it was always, if you're going to do something, try to do it the best that you can at that time. It's about quality. I may not, I have a preference for red wine. However, one of the things Cyndi and I talked about was that although I have a preference for a dry red, I can drink Fiesta. I can drink, and that was the idea. We are not going to, if we are not going to be able to drink that wine, then we're not going to sell that wine.
Yeah.
Right. So that all comes from our family, our parents, who just instilled that in us. And so for us, that is the norm. There is nothing different. We are just doing what we've always done.
That is awesome. So Karen was able to meet your dad.
Yeah, he's visiting with us, and so he was like, "Oh, I want to go out and be a part of it and help out in any way I can." So
that's awesome.
He was a part of our team this weekend.
I bet he was a really good salesperson.
He sits there and smiles, and everyone is like, "Oh my God, his smile!" I'm like, "I know."
Yeah, that $1 million smile,
Yes.
And
that just makes you want to cheers.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent, Dad. That's
you
good.
You can bring him all the time. All the time. He's your secret weapon.
Yeah, just sit there and smile, and that's it. That's it.
That's fantastic. How I know you guys you're hitting the road hard, so to speak, hitting the path hard, and your wine is definitely taking off. In this day, people are always asking questions about health, and we all know wine is good for us in so many ways. There's other avenues about it, such as the environment and different sustainability factors. How are you guys contributing to that, and what part are you taking in that when you make your wines?
Well, I think sustainability is important to us, and that's kind of one of the reasons why we were intentional about how we were sourcing our grapes, that we wanted it to be from a local farm vineyard, which also of course reduces our carbon footprint, right? We also wanted to make sure that where we source our grapes are also that they had good farming practices, right? Which include minimal intervention with the grapes. We want our wines to be a reflection of the grapes that we have this harvest, right? We actually, personally, I look forward to each vintage being a little bit different, because again, it's supposed to be reflecting did we have a really good hot summer or not, or was it raining a lot? And so I look forward to being able to tell the difference, to see that in our wines, and to share that with folks so that they understand that it does make a difference. And so with that, we also wanted to make sure that we were, again, as I said in the beginning, that we were supporting sustainable agriculture. We wanted to kind of ensure that every bottle not only tastes great, but also contributes to a healthier planet. We need to be aware of that. And so again, sustainability is important to us, and we'll continue those practices to make sure that we're doing our part.
Excellent. I'll drink to that.
Cheers.
Dalia, I'm with you. I'm on the deep red side of the fence. We can hang out together.
Yeah, today I'm doing midnight, just semi.
And see, here I am with Merlot. I'm like, no, Dalia's gonna do the dry red. I'm like, okay, we'll do dry red today, and if we could switch across the screen, I guess we would.
And I'm having a lighter because the white, because of coming off of the end of a cold and I tend to have a craving for something that's just a little cooler. It's easier going down on the throat. So, just word to those who are coming off of a cold, unless you're on really heavy medication, I think there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It works perfectly well.
Good to know. Good to know.
Noted.
Christina, do you have any questions? I'm going to ask my our wrap up question.
I don't, other than just, how I know that they're very involved with community and being a part of different things. And so I'm just excited to see what's coming and what is new. And if there's anything that they have to share before Leslie asks her question that kind of lay in the forefront, maybe that people don't always ask, but you oftentimes think about.
Well, I mean, for us, as we mentioned in the beginning, we really, a part of our philosophy and just a part of how we make our decisions, includes engaging our community. And one of the things that we just celebrated our first year anniversary of our launch at the end of June. But what we did was we hosted a series of events. And the last one of the three was really saying thank you to all the local businesses that we've collaborated with, or that we will be collaborating soon in the future with them. And so that is kind of what we believe in. We believe that we can bring our community or grow along with our community, right?
Absolutely.
And that we're here to support each other. And so that is extremely important to us. One of the things that our parents instilled in us was giving back. And so although you don't always necessarily see that on our webpage or social media, it's something that we truly, truly believe in. And so any opportunity we have to support, charities, especially those that are in education and things of that nature, whether it's art, whether it's people who are interested in the wine business, we try to just give back in that way, but also by supporting our other local businesses here. So that's kind of what helps us and pushes us along as well. And so that's one of the things that I think we enjoyed the most, was seeing how when we started out, it may have been like maybe, 3 or 4 collaborators that we had, and you don't think about it much because we're not counting, right?
Exactly.
But we had to be intentional. We were like, okay, here's our list, to invite who we've been working with. And I'm like, oh, wow, we're at like 30 something now. Like, oh, in 1 year, like we went from working with, 4 to, in the end, it was 30 something. And so that in itself was like gratifying to see that, without really thinking too much about it, that we're actually doing what we said we were going to do. So that was kind of one of our like, okay, happy anniversary to us, but we're actually doing what we said we were going to do.
What our unofficial family motto is: a blessing is not a blessing unless it's shared. So any space we occupy, we believe in bringing someone else into that space with us.
Absolutely.
That's really awesome.
That's it. Oh, that's so beautiful.
That says it all. Yeah.
Yes.
That is beautiful. So what I'd like to ask our guest is, if you only had one drink, usually it's wine, but people added other things, what wine or beverage would that be if that's the only thing you could ever have going forward?
Of course, a Malbec from the Mendoza Valley, Argentina.
Oh my goodness. I'm not that exciting in terms of wine. So, this weekend we had a lot to celebrate this week, but I would say that I probably had quite a bit of our L'Amour. And I think that that's kind of right in the middle, and that semi-sweet rosé, or perfect for me. I can probably just keep drinking that. So that's what I would take.
Excellent.
That is excellent. That is excellent. So, can you tell people how to find your wines? You know, obviously on the Wine Concierge, but at other places, obviously,
Any which way you want it.
right?
Yep. Come to the Wine Concierge.
They want to partner with you. How do they get in touch with you? All the details.
So, I mean, the easiest and quickest way, of course, is right on our website, narcissowinecellar.com. You can go there. You can submit inquiries. Certainly through our event calendar, you'll be able to see where you know the upcoming events, festivals, etc. But we also do private events, so you can reach out and inquire about that. And then there are some retailers, you know, off the rocks in Baltimore. You can find us there. And then there are some other ones that are coming down the pike. So just have to kind of keep an eye out that we'll share those. But as you said, Wine Concierge, we're, you know, right there. And
if you don't see it, send us a message.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Please.
But reach out to us and we'll figure it out.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for spending the evening with us. And we will definitely do this again. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you all so
Cindy.
much.
Thank you,
for
Dalia.
having us.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.